What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
What is going on? So welcome to Wednesday's episode. This is the discussion episode. Definitely tune in, if you have not already, to Monday, where we discussed FBI's warning on bad USB drives. Tuesday, where we discussed the North Korean DDoS attacks, North Korea being DDoS attacked twice. And then today is obviously our discussion. Thursdays are usually Ask Us SP. However, I've taken a couple week break to line up some guests. So check that out probably second week of February. And then Fridays, we discuss everything else. So TVs, movies, like last week, we went hardcore into the Microsoft acquisition of Blizzard, Activision King, or Activision Blizzard King in the proper order. So definitely tune into that one if you did miss it. It's a pretty good conversation. But today, we're going into the discussion, and this one comes from an article from BBC.com. It is UK warned to bolster defenses against cyber attacks as Russia threatens Ukraine. So we discussed this last week. We went into a little bit of detail about how there's probably imminent cyber attack and maybe an invasion of Ukraine. We don't know, but the rest of the world is kind of shoring up to make sure that they're defended from the ramifications of this potential incursion, I guess was what you would say. And I just find it fascinating how the rest of the world has to prepare for it, because the internet is comprised of spaghetti. So an attack here can cause ripple effects anywhere else, aside from just the country that we're worried about will be potentially invaded, right? So in this one, this article comes from Gordon Carrera, and in it he discusses how during a previous what they speculate to be a Russian intelligence attack on the Ukraine spilled over into the UK and wreaked havoc, right? So pretty lengthy article. I thought it was pretty good. But for me, the part that stood out was in June of 2017, the Ukraine was the epicenter of an incident with global repercussions. Hackers got inside software used to file tax returns. And that's pretty big right now, right? Because it's tax season is kicked off. Companies were then hit with ransomware, a demand they pay money to unlock their computers. Western governments would later say Russian military intelligence was responsible, and that the real intent was not to profit, but disrupt, and blame it on criminals. Russia denied any role in the attack. Obviously, all countries do that, right? Like, we didn't do it. Like, who would say, like, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that to you. But it just goes to show that just something even small has ripple effects, right? So they did something to the Ukraine that involved their taxes, and it rippled over and caused issues within the Ukraine. But it goes on to cite how the UK is starting to defend themselves a little bit more, get prepared. Other countries should do that as well. Like, again, really robust article that you should read yourselves. But my question is, how, like, when is enough enough? Like, like when are we going to blatantly I guess retaliate when these things spill over from cyber attacks? Or can we? Like, because these are not kinetic strikes, right? Like these are not people dropping bombs on other people. So it's a little bit harder to muster public opinion to be like, yeah, we should get them back. Because if it's not a colonial pipeline, what if it is just ransomware? Like, is that enough to retaliate?
So let me jump in here real quick. I know, LeVon, I'm gonna jump ahead.
Oh, you good?
I'm sorry, man. So usually, the way that these things, let me not say these things, right? Because cyber is different from how we used to do conventional warfare, right? And the way we used to do conventional warfare is you knew somebody was coming, right? Like, you would know before we go into a country, like, okay, well, I just want you to know we're going to be in there. We ain't going to tell you when, but yeah, we're coming, right? This is our declaration of war. That's just not what we're doing now. And even when it comes to cyber, that's just not how things are done. It's not like somebody says, okay, we're coming now, and then a cyber attack happens, right? Like, these things are happening out of the blue. So it's not a matter of preparing for it. And even like there was a quote in the article. I'm going to read what this guy said that I kind of disagreed with. And in his position, I would think he'd feel differently. But it was Ciaran Martin who ran the NCSC until 2020. He said, if the aim is to conquer Ukraine, you don't do that with computers. Well, why not? Everybody uses computers nowadays, right? Like that's kind of how we
Right.
do everything, right? So why would and this is his title too. So this is why it was kind of surprising to me because the NCSC is an arm of UK intelligence, security, and cyber agency GCHQ. I'm like, wait a minute, like you're a cyber guy, right? Like you work for
Right.
a cyber entity. Why do you think that you don't conquer with computers? Like, yes, that's
Right.
exactly how we do everything now. It is the digital age to where
Maybe he's just not taking it seriously still.
Right.
well,
Like,
he's no longer there. He
oh,
was
okay.
there until 2020. So I don't know if because he had beliefs like that, they were like, "Hey, you're not the guy for this job anymore." I'm I'm,
Right.
I'm
Right.
assuming I'm assuming Ciaran is a male. I'm sorry if it's not Ciaran. If you're a female, I apologize. Ciaran Martin. But yeah, I don't understand why uh, there is going to be no. I don't think from this point forward anyone is going to be like, hey, we declare war on you, here comes this cyber attack. This is kind of like testing the waters to see where you stand, right? Like, so they're throwing stuff out there to be like, okay, where are they soft at, right? Like, okay, yeah,
Right.
your firewall is good, this is good, this is good. Let me ship you some USBs with some thank you notes. That's how I'm gonna get you. You know what I mean? That's how I'm gonna do you in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think this is just the way forward. And like I'm not joking when I say that, a declaration of war is how, like, when it come to us invading countries in the past, like we would tell them, like, hey, we're going in.
Right.
Yeah, you ain't gonna know when, but we're
Right.
that's enough. You know what I'm saying? It's just not gonna happen anymore. I don't see it happening like that anymore.
No, that's
Yeah,
very
I agree.
true.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shannon. I think it's yeah, this is kind of how wars are fought nowadays, or at least they're starting to be fought this way. It's being incorporated into like strategies for for invasions or for like conflicts, to use some of the cyber capabilities to disrupt their network and things like that. Um, and kind of to like kind of circle back to Ryan as well, as far as like your question about us like retaliating and things like that for cyber attacks. I'd have to assume that the U.S. and other countries have these like units that are focused on like attacking or like getting into these networks of our adversaries, whether it's North Korea or Russia or wherever. Even probably some of our allies, we probably got some people there that are like inside their systems, or at least trying to get into the system to see what they're capable of, or what they have available, and be able to hit the switch if something happened that we need to like we need to try to shut them down. Let's push out that exploit that's going to shut down their network, do that DDoS attack or whatever. We got all these servers that are lined up ready to be able to deploy like massive like DDoS attacks on their infrastructure in case we need to like try to take them down, and use that as a point of leverage to like at the very least focus it on their government devices and make sure that they have like reduced capabilities to launch missiles or what have you. But I'm sure we don't really hear about that kind of stuff. Obviously, it's kind of like on the secret squirrel stuff that happens in the background that they don't want to make us privy to. But it's just something that I think it's pretty interesting. I'd be obviously we'd love to hear all about this like U.S. side
Right.
like attacking mechanisms and things like that. But I'm sure they obviously going to keep that hush hush until they need to pull it out, and then maybe you'd hear about it if Russia or somebody else talked about it, like, oh, we got this, our government was shut down last night by US. We got confirmation the IP address was from a government computer and all this kind of stuff. But nonetheless, it'd be interested to know about that kind of stuff. But, and then we have Russia and Ukraine battling out, like you mentioned last week. They already had their stuff knocked down because it seemed to be some Russia cyber criminals or whatever trying to warn them. They even sent them like a warning message or something like that. Like I forgot exactly what it said. It was something to the effect like, look out, you guys are in trouble now. We're gonna come after you. But I guess one thing I did want to mention as well is like I'm kind of interested in the back of my mind, when I see articles that say, oh, like they've warned them to bolster their defenses against cyber attacks, it's like, I think their defenses should always be like bolstered. I mean, they should always be ready for these cyber attacks. It shouldn't have to be like, okay, now is the moment that you need to actually increase your cyber presence and make sure your systems are ready for it. You should always be ready. This should be like a 24/7 operation that's always like at the max capability of defense. Shouldn't it be like, okay, let's go ahead and hire some people now. Let's go ahead and turn on the firewalls now because
Right,
we're in conflict time. So that's my thoughts on that.
No, that's very true. So I guess to circle back around to it, like most likely we as in the other world governments and all that stuff, right? Like not just the US, but are prepared to most likely retaliate, but it's just not something that's in public forum, and may never be. Like it's just not exciting enough maybe for the general public to know until afterward. Like I guess when it's actually being documented into the history books, like, oh, okay, when the World War whatever was led through a cyber campaign or something like that before, boots hit the ground or the first rocket was fired, yada yada. So it's definitely interesting. Like hopefully nothing happens, right? Like hopefully everybody just chills, everything calms down. But in case something would happen in the Ukraine, I guess they're putting fillers out there, like, hey, make sure, like you said, turn on the firewalls you should already had on.
Right.
Protect the servers you should already be protecting in case of fallout. But the article does go into greater detail about some other ripple effects as well. So like these things do happen. So hopefully we just get smarter about protecting ourselves.
Well, if they really want to notify people, they would send USBs
with gift cards.
Yeah, with gift cards and notes telling them to, hey, be ready for cyber attacks.
Right. That's that goes back to Monday's episode. So if you don't know the inside joke, please go back to Monday so you can listen to it. But it's interesting stuff, man. Like the way cyber is being, it affects everything. Like people were just like, oh, computers, I don't understand them. Like you do to a certain extent. You have a smartphone that's pretty much a supercomputer in your pocket. So you understand a lot more than you think you do. You just don't understand the wider implications of not having it and what it will do to you when it comes to banking, financials, gas pipelines, shipping epicenters. Like it has huge ramifications on you. I think people are starting to get it, but not quite understanding just quite yet.
If you really want people to understand, like you need to have a cyber attack when like the Bachelorette is on or something like that.
Right.
Take down the Bachelorette or Everybody Has Talent, whatever it is. I don't know.
Right.
Talent. Yeah.
Everybody has talent.
Everybody got talent. Yeah.
What's the name of the show?
America's Got Talent, or
America's Got Talent. There you go.
There you go.
But they have them in different places too, right? They got Britain's Got Talent and all these other.
You do.
They have offshoots. So if you take down one of those in the middle of, like, do it when the final 5 or whatever. I don't know how they do their format. Do it when the final 3 to 5 is on, and then people will take notice. Be like, oh, I couldn't watch The Bachelorette. I don't know who got the rose. watch people then, right?
I was gonna say, breaking news: Shannon advocates for cyber crimes.
No.
But here's the thing: I wouldn't know because I don't watch reality TV. So
right, it's true. Would it affect you?
Right. You'll be behind the curve. People be like, you didn't see this? Like, no, I didn't see it. I didn't see it happen.
That's right.
But yeah, definitely some crazy stuff. Thank you for the discussion, the conversation. Definitely continue to tune in if you're listening to this. Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursday Ask SSP, and Friday is everything else. So definitely hit up that episode as well. Make sure you hit up the website, www.theothersideofthefirewall.com, so you get to all of our social media. Hit me up personally. I am at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and TikTok. And you, LeVon? Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard. There it is. Safe, stay secure. Take care.